folks. We welcome you back to another live edition of the Talking Gator. Hey, we have a super exciting show for you today. I'm sorry. That's my YouTube feed. We have an exciting show for you planned today. But before we get into that, don't forget, hit that like and subscribe. We have live shows right now. We're just doing them Mondays, live at 8 p.m. Appreciate you joining us. On this evening's show, we're going to get into a little bowl talk. That'll be SEC bowl games for the most part. The three of us will offer our SEC bowl pick'ems. And then briefly closing the show, we'll talk a little bit of our Golden Gators. That would be men's basketball. Let me bring in my two co-hosts. That would be Mr. Donnie B. from Live Oak, Florida. And then up near our nation's capital in the shadows of the monuments themselves, Mr. Terrell White. Gentlemen, good evening. How are you? Anybody? Open mic.
I'm great, man. I'm doing awesome. I'm feeling a lot better. Starting to weather this storm. Feeling good.
Coming out of that, I'm sorry, Terrell. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll come back to it. But you're coming out of that sickness, Donnie, that you had here a couple weeks ago. You had to miss out on a show. Me and Terrell floated his boat fairly well. Terrell, definitely all hands on deck on that show. But glad you're feeling better. Terrell, how are things going, man?
No worries, no complaints, man. Just getting into the holiday spirit, counting down to Christmas itself. My son's about to turn 2, so it's like his first real experience with Christmas, and I can see the excitement with the tree and all the boxes is underneath it right now. So that's exciting here in my household and up in this area of the states.
That's good. That's definitely exciting, especially when you have a young ones. That is an amazing. It's hard to capture that emotion of seeing pure joy on a kid's face like that. Even though the joy is material driven, it is true joy, and that is something that I wish you could put in a bottle, man. Because now now that I've got 21-year-old, 18-year-old, and a 14-year-old, one young grandbaby who's like 7 months old, but it's those little moments of those looks of joys on their face are a little more expensive nowadays. But I'm getting into the ones where those babies, where I'm starting to relive those like you are, that young kid and going through those Christmas mornings. Man, I look forward for it for you, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But we're here to talk Florida Gators, and maybe not so much Florida Gators on this show because we are in bowl season. Folks, we are in Santa Claus season, but we are in bowl season, and everyone wishing Santa Claus delivers them a win. And on that note, I do have a question for you guys. I want to know, what are your top 3 food and beverage combos? Pretty simple. Terrell, I'll let you lead this one off, my man.
Okay. Let me throw a disclaimer out there. I'm not the hugest drinker, so mine are going to be a little.
It's broad beverage. Hot dog and a Coke. Hot dog and a Coke. That's where.
Okay. Because I'm a social drinker, so I don't really keep much in the house. So
yeah, it's a food and drink. I probably should have been a little more clear. Food and drink combo. Top 3.
Okay.
Make you think on your feet, man. I like it.
My number one would probably be a margarita and some type of taco to go along with that. Because me and my wife.
I like it.
So number 2 would probably be some type of steak and a pairing of a red wine. Okay. And number 3, I probably can't go wrong with water in a piece of chocolate, because chocolate drives me to drink water. So those are my top 3.
That one I've never heard of. Chocolate drives you to drink water.
You don't like the sweetness of it makes you drink water?
Is it the absence of the sweetness? Like the chocolate's so sweet, it's the absence of the flavor in water.
I guess so. It's something in my mind that makes me drink water after I have a piece of chocolate.
I wonder if it's similar to because I like bourbon and I like it neat. I like just room temperature
Okay.
bourbon in a glass, sipping it. And I've heard it and I've tried it with just they say that just a little hint of water in that, or either taking your sip and then taking a sip of water really enhances the bourbon flavor. I wonder if it's similar. You have no idea. That's fine. That's
I
okay.
do. I do. I mean, I drink. No. I drink some bourbon occasionally. Like I said, I am not a heavy drinker. Like my father tarnished my drinking abilities at a young age. He gave me a Budweiser like the age of like 7, and giving a kid a Budweiser or something at the age of 7, and it tasted horrible, and that made me not want to drink. Like to this day, I can't even drink beer.
Wow.
So
Good for you.
at a later age, I developed a taste for some liquor, and then like I'll drink a margarita or something like that. But like I can't stand the taste of beer. I won't drink a beer to this day. Right. So
Margarita and tacos. I'm not a big
yes.
margarita, but I can definitely that was a good one. That was a good hit right off the rip. Donnie B, favorite food and drink, top 3 food and drink combinations.
Yeah, because I mean, I got a bunch of them, but my number one would be a good old pepperoni and extra cheese pizza with a beer. 2 would be lasagna. This is kind of a romantic setting that I always like lasagna, good homemade lasagna, and some Riscata wine.
Okay.
Kind of my romantic dinner right there. You want to ever hook a brother up and his wife, that would be what you would do, lasagna and some Riscata, right?
I like it.
And then
fitting.
And then and then my third right now is like it's my go-to right now is chicken quesadillas or steak quesadillas with sweet tea.
I was hoping you were going to throw sweet tea in there.
You
Somewhere.
know it's coming.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
That's my go-to. Yeah.
Quesadillas, though, is there something special about the quesadilla with the sweet tea? Because anything goes with sweet tea to me.
Yes, I would agree.
I mean, beer and sweet tea is pretty good together.
So I'm a cheese lover, right? And I love cheese. So the quesadilla right now is speaking to me when it's hot and it's got that melted cheese on it, whether it's steak, or it could be a chicken. Either one doesn't matter. It's just my go-to right now. I think about it all the time. I'm like Moses, like in my backyard right now.
All right, I appreciate those. Those are good. Those are good. Did you get your top one out? That was your top one.
Well, no, I said pizza beer is number 1. That's football.
That's right. You went top to bottom. You went top to bottom.
Yeah, I did. Well, I went top. But I see my go-to right now is the chicken quesadilla. That could change, but that's my number 3. But pizza, you can't.
It's hard to beat pizza and beer.
You can't have a football game without having pizza and beer, man.
You can.
And I'm not talking about a teetotaler now. Okay, I'm just going to say that just a beer. Couple of Michelob Ultras is fine with me. Cold. And man, that's all I need. It's helped me through a lot of Gator games this year. I promise you that.
Hey. If drinking was my vice, man, I'm telling you, man, I'd be going for broke right now. You see what I'm saying? As much pain and suffering.
It was a drinking season, Terrell.
Yes, as much pain and suffering as we didn't do with all those close losses at the end, or just boneheaded mistakes on the field. I agree with you there, Donnie. I definitely agree there.
Childish, just things that you knew you could go coach better. That'll drive you to drinking. All right, I've got 3. I'm gonna start with the regular old beer, and really any type of bar snacks, but I particularly like either pretzels or pork rinds, barbecue pork rinds with a beer.
Yeah,
yeah, that's one of my top. Then I'm gonna go coffee and a donut as number 2. I'm not much of a sweet coffee drinker, Terrell. I like about a spoon and a half in a cup. You know, about a teaspoon and a half a cup of sugar, black, no milk. But a sweet donut that just subtracts the sugar from the coffee. There's something perfect about that. And then not, to kind of steer away from sweet tea, because I would say sweet tea is probably my favorite drink, and I can pair it with just about anything. So I'm gonna avoid sweet tea just to be different, and I'm gonna go bacon, eggs, and orange juice.
Hmm.
And some people are milk. I know there's controversy milk. I don't like the milk. With milk to me goes with sweet things, Oreos, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, not eggs and bacon. Eggs, bacon, and orange juice is hard to beat. I'd almost say a sausage biscuit out of the drive-through and orange juice. But
So,
Hmm.
so, so Jay, that's awesome. So the, every morning I get 2 eggs over medium with grits, bacon, and toast every morning. Every morning. So that's what. No orange juice. I have a French vanilla and then a chocolate milk. Yeah, French vanilla, chocolate milk. Yeah, yeah. I'm a syrup. Syrup. Yeah, yeah. It's a lot faster. A lot faster. You get to it pretty quick when you get that done. You have to sit there and put, that's right. You can get it done. You can get on it. You can get it. Can start working where you that getting that craving quick. I, I got a confession though. When I go to Gainesville, my hometown, you hear me? I have to go back. I have to go on 13th Street to see if the light is on. Because if the light is on, it's on uh with the donuts with Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm getting, I'm getting a dozen if the light is on, and probably 6 of them are gone before I get the live up. God, so God,
Do I have one nearby? Not nearby, but I mean I drive past one occasionally.
oh dang,
You can smell it. I don't. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that.
man,
I think I've experienced that like one time, like years and years ago when I drove by one early in the morning when I was going to work or something like that. But it's been a while.
the lights on, buddy. It's like man, them cars come out of the trees somewhere, down out of the trees to get to them. I mean, yeah.
Y'all must got a different brand of Krispy Kreme down there because I'm not the hugest Krispy Kreme donut fans.
Listen to me. This is coming right off of the. This is fresh. This is like
No,
coming.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Like you know, I mean, I guess I get them when people bring them into the office or something like that. You know, it's a difference. So
Man,
maybe that's what it is. Maybe I need to go experience what you're experiencing and go
let
as
me.
soon as you see the light on and go pick up a dozen.
But
Like we have one office. Yes, yes, yes. We have a couple up here that I go to. Yes, we got a couple that I go to.
yeah. Mm, yep. Make it now. I had 2 donuts this morning though.
Okay, I mean, it's been a, it's, well, I mean, it's been a good 48 hours, well, 24 to 48 hours, and in Gator Nation. Yesterday, the Gators got 3 commitments out of the portal. Defensive tackle Joey Slackman from Penn University, an Ivy League school, which is obviously tell you he's a highly intellectual and smart football player. Well, we're hopeful of that, but he's smart and intellectually out in education and book wise. Then we got an offensive tackle from San Diego State. I don't want to butcher his last name, but Brandon Dickerson, I believe is. I think he has a hyphenated last name, but I believe the last portion is Dickerson. 6'6" guy.
I did see that
Played
guy.
at San Diego State. Played for 3 years, just about. I think he was a starter for maybe majority of those 3 years. Played against some good elite programs on the West Coast, UCLA, maybe USC. Didn't I think he gave up 1 sack and maybe like 8 pressures on the season. So I'm assuming he's a good quality addition from the portal. So I'm happy about those 2. And lastly, we got a cornerback from the University of Oregon. He played a lot in 2022, didn't play a lot in 2023. I think they were shuffling and playing more younger players. So he comes with the wealth of experience. He was all Pac-12, I think, 2 years ago in 2022. So he's the tweener between a corner and a safety, so we can use the depth on the back end. Other than that, we've lost some players and they've kind of went into different situations. Like Presley Yellen, he signed with Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin is making a mark in the transfer portal. I'll tell you that any big name is going to Ole Miss because they're going all in to make the playoffs this upcoming season. Other ETN has not made the decision yet, but from everything that the internet is saying, it's looking like he's headed towards Georgia, which is not a good thing coming from one school to maybe your second biggest rival. And then in high school recruiting, DJ Lagway was on campus this past weekend, and he just basically reaffirmed his commitment. We lost our top safety, Xavier Filsame. He flipped from us into the University of Texas.
I was worried about that.
And we're still holding on to LJ McCray, our best defensive player in the class. And there's a couple other players that there may be some tea leaves that from what I've read and what I've seen that may be in the process of not leaving us, but we may be flipping from another university. I think a running back out of Georgia that was committed to Arkansas. I saw that he decommitted, so it's between us and Alabama. We're still holding out hope on the number 1 receiver in America, Jeremiah Smith, a guy from Chaminade in Miami. That kid, and I think it may be a couple other too. So maybe from what I've heard, maybe some surprises that Billy's been sitting on that may flip to us during signing day. But other than that, it should be pretty quiet. All the kids that are committed should basically commit. Other maybe the 1 or 2. Amarius Williams, he may flip to Ole Miss. I mean, not Ole Miss, to Auburn. And Ardarius Hayes. I think I'm pronouncing his first name right. Ardarius Hayes. I think he's looking at Miami. So those 2 kids on the defense side of the ball may flip. If not, it should be a pretty quiet sounding day on Wednesday, with the surprise maybe coming to us. Hopefully, not too many defections or flips away from us.
So I see recruiting a lot like how I see golf, is that I only count what I have, and I can always count on one hole counseling out what I've already got, but I never count on more than what I've already got. Donnie B, question for you. Does the loss of Filsame, the defensive back, is that gonna, in your opinion, you think that's gonna affect LJ McCray? Because that's a big hit from a recruiting standpoint to our defense, in my opinion.
Well, this is the thing. They're all high school players. They've never played a snap in college football, so you really don't know what impact they're going to make. Because there's a lot of 5-stars that are transferred out of Georgia that they never got on the field at Georgia. They got to go somewhere else to play. So it just tells you the stars are great, but how they fit into your system, everything like that. I think the bottom line is it was about the money. I think we're going to be okay because we'll pick up a portal. I think the kid out of looking at I'm trying to think. There's a safety out of. Is it out of UCLA?
No, yeah, actually San Diego State, but he's committed to UCLA. But we're trying to get him to visit.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So he's already committed to UCLA, but he hasn't signed a financial aid packet or anything like that.
Yeah, that would be an impact player that could come in and wouldn't feel that. Xavier's wouldn't hurt us till like 26 anyway. That's what I'm saying about these kids. They're gonna come in and they'll be in, some of these will be in January and they'll play this year. But Florida's not winning anything this coming year, so there'll be other 5-star safeties out there. I'm not worried about that. What I am concerned about is both the lines of scrimmages. Right? That's me. That's me. I'm thinking about um, I'm thinking about the kids that we have to come in on the lines of scrimmage. But anytime you lose a 5-star, that's not good PR for your program. If that's what you're asking, Jay.
Yeah, and I'm really concerned because I know a lot of these kids they talk, they follow each other's social media, they have each other's number, they're texting. And I know a lot of
Yeah,
times, you know,
yeah, going anywhere.
someone, you get these pairs in there that you might think they can
Yeah,
build something together. So I was hoping that
no, I,
McCray may not be a an effective.
he's not going anywhere. LJ's good. He's not going anywhere. He's committed.
I
Um,
like that.
I think I think I'm gonna go off what we talked about earlier. I think that we're going to get some surprises that are going to commit to Florida. I think
I'm
that kid.
thinking, you know what I'm thinking. My fault. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, Donnie.
No, go ahead. That's all right. Go
This is
ahead.
what this is. No, this is a projection. I was disappointed in Billy, right, from a portal standpoint last season and this season as well. His aggressiveness. He's not overly aggressive in the portal. But now I'm not as upset as I was because I'm looking at USC losing 5-star quarterback, UCLA use 5-star quarterback. I think now you have to play your kids on campus that you recruit, because if you don't play them after a year, they're going to leave like a year or two. Depending on offensive line, defensive line, you may stick around because of development. But if it's a corner, it's a wide receiver, you can't go into the portal and get other kids at the same position at the skills and the secondary positions, because the kids on campus may feel like, well, why are you going to get them if you recruited me and you don't believe in me that quickly within a year? I think you have, like, I'm mad that we obviously lost six games last year, but I think it's uber important to build through the ways Billy is building, because I don't think it's sustainable year after year to build through the portal, because you can't develop lines of scrimmages through the portal every year. You make it hit on one or two pieces, you see what I'm saying? But you can't get 6, 7, 8 guys to be in a rotation on the offensive line and defensive line. So maybe we're going to take our lumps for maybe 2, and maybe this year, maybe not be as pretty as we want it to be. But then high school recruits, because high school recruiting is going to take a fall because of the portal. People going after quarterbacks in the portal instead of going to get, I mean, not, you're always going to have 5-star quarterbacks, but the second tier, the 3 tiers, the low level quarterbacks who are developmental projects aren't going to be seen like they were seen previously, because coaches are going to get proven commodities from Power 5 schools in the portal. So I think Billy's building the right way, and hopefully when we have that season, maybe not next season, the year after that he'll add from the portal at key positions where we need impact players now to help us reach that 12-team playoff. But I'm not mad at the approach he's taking, because you're just seeing kids transfer all over the place. And we haven't had a lot of kids transfer. Obviously, we lost Princely, but I think Princely wants to get a chance to compete for a championship. And I think ETN, it must have been some promises that were broken. But other than that, we haven't had a lot of kids that Billy's recruited, has transferred, is leaving, because they all have had a chance to play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, but the thing is that we haven't had a good defensive line and offensive line in 8 years. So
I would say 8 years. You think 8 years?
8 years.
What year? Who was that? Was that with Will Muschamp? Was that what you described? Is that Will Muschamp era?
Much from no, after Will Muschamp.
You talking about Charlie?
It was probably
McElwain?
probably the effects of Will Muschamp.
Yeah, McElwain era. It must be McElwain era.
McElwain and Mullen. We had no type of, no impact players.
Well, Muschamp is very, and we can see the effects of it when he's put in a defensive role. Very effective. He's a defensive coach, and there I heard it explained well. Maybe it was on Shane's show that, when you look at head coaches and when you look at practice, head coaches will go in one of two directions. They'll either go work with the offense or they'll go work with the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And then they leave kind of everybody, the other half to deal. And you got the few that go, special teams or float, but most of them will split. And what we've had, other than I think maybe even McElwain maybe swayed, but Muschamp swayed heavily on the defensive side. In practices, he went to the defensive side of the ball, and we struggled offensively. Mullen, you look at there. When he went to practice, he's an offensive, he's a quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to practice, and he goes to the offensive side of the ball. And we have one of the hottest offenses we've ever had come from Dan Mullen. but our defense is one of the worst defenses we've ever had. The Todd Grantham guy. Right. So it's when you look at, but when you look back at coaches like Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier, you can say, yeah, these are offensive minded coaches, but they also understood and had good trust and roles and leadership on the defensive side of the ball. But it seemed like here recently is like we focus, okay, we need to, it's almost like overcorrecting on the interstate, Terrell. Is you kind of doze off and you hit that right side, and the first thing you do is jerk left and you go way left, and that seems like how we've played offense and defensive side of the ball here recently. And I think that's what Donnie's referring to. Is it's been a while since, maybe not since we've had an effective front defensive line. Though, right? Go ahead.
But you know why that is. To Donnie's point, I don't necessarily think it has to do with who's the coach. That not the coaching. I think it has to do with the coaches hitting the recruiting portal. Like we've recruited, like right now, Billy Napier's recruiting elite talent. He's probably the best recruiter we've had since Muschamp. Because Dan Mullen didn't really want to recruit, right? That's probably why
I can get behind that. That's a big ding.
So I think more than anything, it's recruiting. Recruiting is the lifeblood of college football. Like I said, Billy Napier wants to recruit. He wants to build it the traditional way. Now, unfortunately, he's coming into a time where you have the transfer portal and you have high school recruiting. Like you got to kind of mix the two. You got to blend them. You got to pick and choose. You got to, if you want to live through high school recruiting, you got to be excellent at that, and you also got to pick the right players in the portal. So that's the thing. That's the thing we've missed between those two. That gap between Muschamp and Napier. We didn't get to recruit as well. So that was like maybe 6 or 7 years of mediocre recruiting, which kind of led us down this landslide of where we are now. And Billy Napier trying to dig us out to get us to a more recognizable and prominent program. So that's the biggest issue. Like if recruit, that's why I really want Billy to succeed, because he wants to recruit. And he's a relationship guy, and from all accounts, people love him on the trail as far as his established relationships and the way he recruits and forms those bonds with the players that he's recruiting, right? But success on the field is the biggest determinant of all of that.
Only thing that's hurt Billy Napier in my eyes is that, well, there's a couple things, but on the field coaching, but the only thing that's hurt him is that like Florida was way behind in facilities for all these years, right? And then we finally catch up where we can recruit that we have the same facilities as a Clemson or a Georgia, or maybe better facilities than them because they're brand new facilities, top of the line. But right in the middle of that comes the transfer portal, NIL.
And I agree.
And then you have a problem where you've got last year when we had a debacle with our NIL where we promised this kid that's never thrown a football $4 million a year or whatever it was, ridiculous.
Jaden Rashada, yes.
Whatever it was. And then we didn't even know how we were going to pay him, right? And Napier didn't know anything about it. And they thought if he's going to get paid, he's going to be the starter. And all these people, he's like, wait a minute, I'm the coach. And we're not paying that kid that kind of money. We don't even know what he can do. And it was just kind of a mess. So he had to come in and learn how to develop work hand in hand with the portal and the collective, how to work it all together so they were communicating. And if they promised a kid come in and get $1 million a year, there was even money there to pay him. So there was a lot of that went on that he had to learn. But he had a system in place. If it was just about recruiting and getting a class in December and building it and then coming in with some graduate assistants or whatever. I mean, graduates from other programs like they've done for years. But then when they start this free agency, because you call it what it is, this free agency.
It is that done.
Pretty much.
The draft is this week. That's the draft for your team. That's like a draft now. And then free agency when they have the portal open and they're going to the highest amount of money. You can't compete with that. So
I mean, you can compete. See, the thing is, like, even if you like what Donnie alluded to earlier, like Georgia's losing 4 and 5 stars left and right now. Like, there's a lot of people defecting from that program as well. So it's not only a Florida thing, it's Ohio State, USC. I don't know too much about Alabama, but Miami's losing kids. The big time defensive end for Florida State, he's seeking like $1 million, so he entered the transfer portal because they didn't want to pay him. So I mean, like it's here to stay. Unfortunately, like we had this conversation last week. I'm not gonna rehash it. I don't think you can put the cat back into the bag, but like Billy, like from the kids that Billy has recruited and brought in, a lot of them are bored, and of course you're gonna have defections. In today's day and age, you got parents in people's ears, you got agents, you got all type of stuff. But the kids that he really recruited, majority of them are seem like they want to be Florida players and they want to stick around for a long time and return the program to prominence. I just think he needs his vision needs to be a 4-year vision. I hope he gets the 4th year because I'm not guaranteed year 3 is going to be as pretty as we would like for it to be. I think year 4 would definitely take us to another level because you have Lagway as a starter potentially. Well, hopefully, if all because he's hitched his wagon a Lagway. So year 4, all these kids would be juniors and seniors, and he can say, "This is what we built. Now let's go hit the portal hard, spending millions of dollars to get to the playoffs." So I'm hopeful.
Well, I mean, I just know that there's a lot of obstacles that he has to deal with. That when he took the head coaching job at the University of Florida was not there. Bottom line.
Yes. The portal wasn't as what it was now. We was already behind them. Which I'm in agreement with you. You see what I'm saying? I'm in total agreement. We was already behind the 8 ball, like you alluded to, when it came to facilities, when it came to the administration. From all accounts, from what I read, obviously I don't know anything. I don't know. I'm not in depth with the UAA and all that type of stuff. But the UAA, excuse me. But like I'm hopeful in his contract. He says he should have requested a guaranteed 4 years. If everybody around, see the problem I have is this is my only problem. I'm not a fire any coach type of guy, right? Like I other than Jim McElwain, I really wasn't sold on him. But I'm looking at Napier. Like Napier has the mentality to lead us out of the darkness, but the fans have to get behind it and understand we're not close to Georgia, and the only way for us to get there is to recruit our way out of it. You can't porter your way into being Georgia. You have to recruit your way to becoming a Georgia and Alabama and getting back to the Urban Meyers when Ron Zook stockpiled the talent for Urban Meyer when he came in, because Ron Zook stockpiled it for Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer built upon that and kept it going, and then Will Muschamp kept it going defensively on the defensive side of the ball, and then they kind of faltered with Jim McElwain and Dan Mullen. But I think Billy can recruit us there in 4 years, probably 3 to 4 classes. And hopefully he has the time, and the fan base understands that if you're a realistic fan, you knew where we were, and you can see the trajectory. You just need more on the field success. You can't lose games you should win. That's his only issue. This year he can't lose games that he should win.
Yes. No. Well, I need to get my list out because I was thinking about this. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So these games, um, I mean, you don't know who's going to show up to play. It's kind of hard. I mean, look, bowl games aren't the same as we've always known bowl games to be. But you got to look at the pedigree. Naturally, Alabama. I mean Georgia, Florida State.
This happens around this time, Donnie, for you. I'm sure what's going on there in the country. I had a talk Tuesday with my father-in-law, who's with Windstream, or was recently retired with Windstream, and he still backs it. But here on the Talking Gator, we are not buying it. We're not buying the Windstream deal. Donnie at B, it seems like you're back. What's going on, man?
Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you did break up there. We lost you when you were going into your top 1 or 2 SEC bowl games there. But I'll give the stage back to you. Go ahead.
Okay, so am I good now? Because I don't know why it was breaking up. It's been good all night.
That last 5 seconds was great.
Golly.
Go ahead.
The Georgia, Florida State is intriguing for sure. And the reason why it is because we're going to find out really how if Florida State belonged or they didn't. It's kind of get it. I don't know. It just like you said, you've got a lot of kids that are opting out and how much they want to play. Bowl games don't mean as much as they used to be, so you're doing a whole lot of guessing because the players that got you to that bowl game are not playing in the game; they're opting out.
That's still an interesting dynamic to this bowl game, and I wish that wasn't part of the conversation. But I mean, it is. It used to be the only worry was the draft. That were just going to the NFL. They wanted to sit out. Everybody else played, but now there's whole new dynamics to it. That again, that free agency feel.
Yeah, like I agree with Donnie wholeheartedly. Like when I saw the list, I'm looking at the list. I'm like, man, I don't even know who's Kentucky's quarterback. Right? I don't even know who's Texas A&M quarterback. I don't even know. I know Carson Beck's coming back for Georgia, but half the kids who have NFL aspirations are probably not even playing. Same thing with Florida State. I don't think Florida State probably gonna have 52. 22. Nothing but sophomores and freshmen probably playing this game. These are like glorified spring games right now. If you don't make the playoffs,
there you go.
That's how I think. I remember like Dan Mullen did that a couple years ago.
Postseason's no different than preseason anymore.
Yes, that's how it should be. I'm not saying that's how it should be, but that's how teams are going to look at it. Like, man, this is here for our freshmen and sophomore who didn't get a lot of burn in the regular season. Like, we can get a lot of these, we can utilize these practices, then go into like weightlifting and conditioning, and then we already got a jump start on the spring. That's how probably Georgia's probably looking at it, right? You may see Carson Beck for a half. Or you may see some of these players for a half, and then the third and fourth quarter, you roll out your freshman and your sophomore to let them get burned and get preparation for the next season, going up against other teams, freshmen and sophomores, right? That's how you got to look at these games, and you can't look at them as far as, oh man, the name is there, but the players aren't recognizable at this point in time.
So if you look at college football heading in the direction of basically NFL football, the reason to me. One of the top reasons to me that the NFL doesn't have just random bowl games other than the playoffs is because they know that those players, especially the ones that are on the end of contracts, aren't going to play in any postseason game unless the actual trophy is being considered, right? Unless the actual trophy is being played for. But if you took the NFL and you said, okay, other than the top 8, the other top 4 or whatever, right, are going to go and they're going to play in this game that doesn't matter. Look at what the Pro Bowl's turned into. Have you seen the Pro Bowl?
Yes, it's
okay.
It's just a whole bunch of
what bowl games. Now. That's what bowl games are headed to. Other than
that's what they are. It's not what they're headed. That's what they are.
No, well, did you see the last Pro Bowl? I mean, the last Pro Bowl. It's not even. I mean, it's not even football. It's a show.
Look, Jay, if you look at Florida State, I think maybe has had 15 opt-outs of their best players who helped them go undefeated. Once they didn't have a chance to the playoffs, you can't expect dudes who went 13-0 and you told them that they can't play in the playoffs and now they can prepare for the NFL to come play in a meaningless bowl game. Them going 14-0 doesn't help them get no fake banner lifted that says we're national champions. Oh no, I did my work. If I'm not playing for the playoffs, I'm not playing these games. Especially when you got NFL aspirations. That's how the kids are looking at it. And you can't, at this point in time, you can't fault them. Right?
Once you have NFL aspirations, the whole college game becomes kids play.
Yeah. Once you did your job in the regular season.
Is it similar? Is it similar to a high school kid knowing that he's got, either offers or commitments going into, state playoff games. Is he?
No, I look at that different though.
Well,
You
because
saying
the
it's the
state
playoff?
playoff game, again, everybody that plays in a state playoff is playing for the trophy in the end.
Yes,
Whereas
they have an
college
opportunity.
football is a different dynamic where everybody that's playing postseason is not necessarily playing for the championship. Isn't. In fact, most of them aren't to the point.
Yeah, only 4 are.
Right, only 4 are. So,
Hey,
that,
let's get back to what you asked me to give you. I'm gonna give you these real quick because I'm gonna give you my picks, and then you're gonna say okay or yay or nay. I'm gonna see if you agree or you don't. This is my picks for the SEC. Ready?
what
You ready?
are you giving your picks for who wins each game?
Yes. I'm
No,
gonna nail them down.
no, that's coming. That's coming. Don't do that. We've got pick'ems, Donnie.
What you said, my top, the biggest thing is.
I just
that's
want to kind of what are the 2 top, what
Yeah.
are the 2 top games for you out of all those 8?
Florida State, Georgia, Michigan, Alabama.
We'll take Michigan, Alabama out of the picture because we all know that's on all of our.
Hurry, Ohio State then,
Yeah.
because the rest of them are blowouts.
Yeah, Missouri, Ohio State was definitely my. I don't think Georgia, Florida State. I think like you said, that's just going to be a to the most part of bloodbath. I'm looking at this Ole Miss Penn State matchup. I think that's going to be a pretty good game. And although Auburn and Maryland aren't, like I said, these are great games across the whole board, really. Auburn and Maryland, although they're not ranked, that might be a pretty good game to watch as well. Terrell, what you're seeing here, other than this Alabama-Michigan game, you got 8 other bowl games here in the SEC. Which 1 or 2 stick out to you the most?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I probably would say, I think the Iowa Tennessee game is going to be pretty good.
Wow.
Because I'm thinking Iowa has a formidable defense, right? So I don't know how many kids from Iowa are opting out, right? I don't know. And I think Tennessee, I think Joe Milton needs to keep showing as much film as he can to be a draftable quarterback. You see what I'm saying? So I'm looking at teams who quarterback are probably going to play. Like that's that game, and I guess I'm in agreement with you when it comes to the Ole Miss Penn State game. But other than that, I don't see any other games because like Jaden Daniels is not playing for Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin versus LSU. Jaden Daniels is not playing. Kentucky, I don't know who their quarterback is. Missouri, Ohio State quarterback's not playing because he committed to Syracuse. And I don't even know who. Maybe I guess Ole Miss, Penn State, and the Iowa Tennessee games are the most games that I probably watch because those probably have quarterbacks that are going to play.
I don't know. You think Iowa and Tennessee is going to be a great game? Iowa hadn't scored over 17 points all year.
Yeah, but I think I'm basing that off because I see Joe Milton going to play. That's the only reason I'm basing off Joe Milton playing. Like who else? Like LSU doesn't have Jaden Daniels. I couldn't tell you who's Wisconsin quarterback. Florida State ain't got Travis. Florida State ain't got Jordan Travis, and Georgia's probably gonna steamroll them. I don't even know what Auburn is. I don't know who their quarterback is. I mean, they got the dude they got a decent quarterback. I don't know who Maryland is. Ole Miss and Penn State. I think. I don't like you said, man. I probably catch snippets of these games. I probably won't watch nothing in the time.
Maybe this is an easier question because we're right. The interesting dynamic of these are all new. Every one of these teams is presenting a new roster, a new depth chart.
Yeah,
going in. Impact players. There are many impact players. We could probably go through all these games and find impact players that are going to affect the game otherwise to their regular season. Other than maybe Alabama, Michigan might be the one that's close because they're, again, playing for trophy. So let me ask you this. Do you see a blowout here anywhere, Terrell? Donnie, I'm gonna divert to you because you were fairly confident. Terrell, I'll come back to you. Donnie, you see a blowout here. Where do you see it?
I do. That daggum quarterback is god awful for freaking Iowa. I think Tennessee's going to blow the doors off of them.
You got Tennessee blowing the doors off of Iowa. Terrell, do you see a blowout here?
I see Missouri blowing out Ohio State.
Yeah.
Really?
Ohio State ain't got no quarterback.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Good point. You're right. That makes this whole different. I didn't even consider that in my puzzle.
blow it up.
I think Missouri has a chance to win like 12 games or 11 games first time in school history. So they got something to play for recognition wise. That'll be the biggest thing in school history. You can come back 20 years and say we won the most games in Missouri history type of thing. And I think Georgia's going to beat the brakes off Florida State. I think the spread needs to be at least 21. They win by more than 21. So,
got it right now?
Huh?
Got it at 14 right now.
Yeah, no, I said it need to be 21.
Yeah.
As many kids from Florida State that's not playing, they have no chance. I don't see. They may not even score. They might score 4. They may not score more than 14 points, if that.
Well, now listen, you don't know what Georgia, how they're going to show up, their mentality. I know how I would want to.
I'm basing this off of Georgia's recruiting. Georgia's recruited well enough in the last 4 or 5 years to have some sophomores and some freshmen who are highly touted. In comparison to Florida State was a portal team. And most of those kids in the portal are probably not going to play, and they probably got NFL aspirations. But more than most of them, a lot of them aren't playing because they got NFL aspirations. The pass rushers aren't playing. The quarterback's not playing. The running back's not playing. The defensive linemen aren't playing. So what you're saying is, I don't think Florida State has recruited that well. So I know they don't have a lot on the 2 deep. Their second team is not good as Georgia's second team, first team.
No, they go well. It just depends on the mentality of Georgia, but I think they'll beat their Blitz.
Big huge tractor.
No,
What's up, Liam?
And then did you see Florida State in the SEC in the ACC championship game? What you think? What happened when had them players on the defense that kept them in that game? They kept it so close. They're gonna do when they're not playing. They about to get blown out by 21, Donnie. You gonna be disappointed if you waste your time watching that game. You gotta go find something else to do.
Hey, man. Hey, so let's get into those details when we come back from the break. But before we do, let me ask you, this is real simple. I'm going to ask each of you, over under 4.5 SEC wins. Okay, we've got 9 games. Let me show them to you, and I'm including Alabama and Michigan. Let me go over Texas A&M with 20, Oklahoma State, 22 Clemson with Kentucky, number 9 Missouri with number 7 Ohio State,
That's
number
easy.
11 Ole Miss with number 10 Penn State, unranked Auburn with unranked Maryland, 6 Georgia with 5 Florida State, Wisconsin with 13 LSU, number 17 Iowa with number 21 Tennessee, and then we have Alabama number 4 with Michigan number 1. Okay, I want to know, real simple, gentlemen, over under 4.5 wins for the SEC.
That's so easy.
Donnie B.
That's so easy.
Give it to me.
over.
Oh my God, over, dude.
You're taking
come
it
on.
over. Taking over clear.
Like way over. No ifs, buts, wins.
No ifs, ands, or buts. It's SEC's better than 500 in bowl games. I like it. I'm with you. Terrell, are you against that?
No, I'm over. I'm at least there. At least I got 5, possibly 6 of these games that the SEC should win.
5,
right? But you never know.
6. We're going to get into the details of that, so stick with us, folks.
5, possibly 6.
Donnie B, where are you at? 5 or 6, 7, 9?
As far as how many's playing?
How many? You got 9 SEC bowl games.
Yeah, I only see like 3 threats on there whatsoever.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get into those details, folks, when we get back. We're going to get into some SEC pick'ems, bowl pick'ems. Stick with us. We'll be right back. welcome back, folks. Thank you for joining us. When you left us, we were talking SEC bowl games. Before we get into those in a little more detail, because we're going to go into our pick'ems. But before we do, don't forget, it's real simple. Hit the like and subscribe. We appreciate it. That's the best way to show us love. Helps us out. And that's all I have to say about that. Because I really have pick'ems on the mind. I want to get into that because we have a lot to talk about, I think, when we break these games down. And I know the dynamic of certain players playing here and there, gentlemen, is going to change it. But I think when we get into each one of these games one by one, I think we're going to have a lot to talking about. And I got a feeling this show might go on for another hour just talking about this. So let's get this started. I'm going to lead us out. First game, Texas A&M, number 20, OSU. That's going to be the Tax Act Texas Bowl. That's a mouthful. In Houston on the 27th, 9 p.m. Eastern. Let me see. Just toss the dice here. Hell, I'll lead us out. I'm going Texas A&M on this one, gentlemen. Let me go to... Yeah, I am. Let me go to Donnie B. Donnie B, coming to you. I got Texas A&M. Texas A&M.
I got. Where's it played at?
Houston. Neutral is the Texas Bowl.
It's going to be a Texas A&M crowd. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but I'm going SEC. Oklahoma State did not impress me at all in the Big 12 championship. Texas owned them, dominated them, which way but loose. So yeah, I'm going with Texas A&M.
All right, pretty simple. Terrell, coming to you. We got Texas A&M, Oklahoma State. Give us your breakdown and your pick, buddy.
And I'll be the rational thinker here. So Texas A&M has a new coach. Their whole team is basically in the transfer portal. D-line, all of the best recruiting class ever that they had maybe about 2 years ago. Most of them are in the transfer portal. They're in a state of influx. They're doing a lot of portal shopping. Oklahoma State, I don't know much about. I know they just made it to the Big 12 championship game, like Donnie alluded to. So, but I don't know if they have a whole bunch of portal, but I'm assuming at least they have Mike Gundy. So I'm going the fact that they have their head coach and they got a little more continuity, that they'll probably win this game easily, but they'll cover the spread as well.
So I didn't I didn't even tell you that Texas A&M is favored by 2.5. I still got Texas A&M favored over spread. Donnie, are you going with Texas A&M covering their 2.5?
Yeah, no doubt.
And Terrell, Can you go ahead and give me your final?
Oh yeah, no, Oklahoma State will win in there, and they'll win by 10 points.
Okay, so you think Oklahoma shuts that down? You got Oklahoma by 10, so you got Oklahoma covering it by 2 touchdowns, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
My man, I like a man that goes against the grain. That usually is what pulls out a win in these pick'ems deal. All right, next we got number 22 Clemson. They are favored over Kentucky by 5.5 points. That's a Tax Slayer Gator Bowl in Jacksonville here, not a couple hours or about an hour from the house here. That's going to be on the 29th at noon. Again, Kentucky underdog by 5.5. Terrell, I'm going to come to you on this one first.
I don't know if Devin Leary's playing for Kentucky, which would kind of put a wrinkle in things. So
agreed.
I guess I can go with. I think the game will be closer to 5.5. I think Clemson pulls it out by 3. I think they'll cover the spread, but they'll still lose. I think that they'll win by 3.
Oh, sorry, you're taking Kentucky with the spread, right?
No, I'm taking Clemson.
You're taking Clemson.
Clemson. I think Clemson will win this game, yes, but I think they'll win by 3. I don't think it'll be they won't win by more than 5.
Okay, but we're playing the spread, so that would mean that Kentucky would win.
Oh yes, I'm taking Kentucky. I'm taking Kentucky on the spread. Excuse me. I'm taking Clemson to win, but I'm taking Kentucky to cover. Excuse me, my apologies.
Okay, yeah, Kentucky covers with the 5.5.
Yes.
Donnie B, coming to you, buddy.
I think Clemson wins this game.
You think they win it by more? You think they win it by a touchdown?
I think they win it by maybe like 9 points. Yeah.
All right. So Kentucky cover or Clemson covers. Donnie B's going Clemson.
Yeah.
I think this is probably one of the better games, better matchups. I think it's a tight game, so Kentucky covers either way in a tight game. I think it's a 3-point game, so that would leave Kentucky covering either way. I take Kentucky with Terrell. Game 3. Number 9, Missouri. Number 7, Ohio State. That's going to be the Goodyear Cotton Bowl in Arlington on the 29th at 8 p.m. Missouri is favored by 2.5 points. Donnie B, you're going to lead us off. First shot off the tee box here.
Or with a Missouri team favored at Ohio State University. What have you ever seen?
Yeah, it's going to be in Arlington. So
no, but I'm saying Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Ohio State is Missouri's favored to win over Ohio State. What have you ever seen that before?
Well, I think this is them saying, okay, Big Ten, let's see who you really are. Like, it's all fun and games over there in the Big Ten, right?
Okay. No, that's not what this is. That's not what this is, Jay. This is now. No one knows who the quarterback is for Ohio State.
I agree. That's very true too.
Early in the conversation, Terrell said something about the desire for Missouri to win more games than ever won.
Yes, they can go for a school record. So I think they'll cover this easily. My fault.
And definitely going to beat the spread 2.5.
Who you got? So could you say that again, sir?
Missouri.
You're taking Missouri. You think they got more than? You think they're covering more than 2.5?
Yeah. I don't know where Ohio State's
going to develop. All they need is a field goal to win.
Yeah, I'm taking Missouri to win.
All right, Terrell, I'm gonna shoot over to you.
I'm with Johnny, and I think they'll cover, and I think they'll cover easily. I think they'll win by more than by 7 to 10 points.
We're all gonna be consistent on that one, gentlemen. I'm gonna take Missouri as well. I think even with the Ohio State starting quarterback, I think it's still you're bringing it down south. And you're telling, because Missouri, I mean, they're next door. They're going to show out for the most part. And, we're really going to find out what the Big Ten's worth, versus the SEC, kind of like a Florida State, even if Jordan Travis is part of the equation, Florida State coming into, facing Georgia, that's going to be, okay, let's see who you are. Right, and I think that's Ohio State's. This game is Ohio State coming in and say, okay, let's see who you are. You're great. You had a great season. You lost to only the number 1 team in the country right now. So let's see how you stack up against number 9 in the country. You take that quarterback out of the equation, Missouri is eating that lunch all day. I think they cover it by 10 points. I'm sorry. I think they win by 10 points, covering by a touchdown, 0.5 points, 7.5 points. I got everybody there. Let's go to the next game. We've got Ole Miss and an underdog. I can't see what that is. We got Ole Miss and underdog by 3.5 points to Penn State. Ole Miss number 11, Penn State number 10. I think it's just random. I'll take the lead here. I'm taking Ole Miss in this one. If they're the underdog, I think they're winning. I think they're covering that. I think they're beating Penn State by a touchdown, covering that spread by at least 2.5 points. Taking Ole Miss. Donnie B, coming to you.
So this is a game that I was kind of looking at. We're talking about 3.5. Penn State has not beaten a top 10, and I look at Ole Miss as a top 10 team, not 11. They have not beaten a team, but I don't know. I know Dart's going to be quarterback. He's coming back next year, so I think they'll hold it together at Ole Miss. I'm going to say Ole Miss beats the spread. I'm taking Ole Miss.
All right. Terrell, what do you think about this game?
Prior to hearing Donnie speak and thinking about it a little bit further while you two were talking, I think I'm taking the points in Penn State.
Wow.
I think now the reason I say that is I know, I don't know how much emphasis has been put on this bowl game for who's the head coach? Lane Kiffin. He's been doing a lot of portal shopping. He's been making splashes in the portal, and is that more important than a frivolous bowl game in comparison to making sure I get every big fish in the portal I can, going on visits, calling instead of game plan and all that type of stuff? Or is he just looking at it?
Everything matters to Lane Kiffin.
But
I don't,
it is important. The SEC against the Big Ten.
Yeah, but is it really? I mean, I think in the SEC's eyes, I think Michigan, Alabama is more important than any of these other bowl games, right?
No,
Lane Kiffin only eats French's mustard. If his wife brings home great value mustard, he turns his nose up and he hollers and he cusses.
I think Terrell needs to understand SEC football a little better. We don't like Big Ten.
It's
that
not
was a
about
low
liking,
blow there, Donnie.
but I don't think it's about liking or disliking, right? I think the reality of it is, right? I think a lot of the reality is these games don't have the same significance as they once had. And now, as I'm starting to think about it, like it's a lot going on. You got college recruiting, you got the portal, you got coaches taking jobs. It's a lot of teams in flux right now. So that's how I'm trying to get you. But you're looking at the teams if they were doing a regular season. I'm looking at the teams when they're going through attrition, and what team has more attrition. I'm gonna take the team who probably had less attrition. That means they got more.
Mm-hmm.
What does Penn State have to play for?
I don't think either one of them got nothing to play for.
Neither one of them have anything to play for as we're talking about it.
But what I'm saying is, though, I think Penn State has had less attrition or has more focus on this game, and maybe they want to win this game for James Franklin to get that monkey off his back, right? You see what I'm saying? Maybe that's what I think it is. Maybe that's what I'm banking on. They want to get this. They want to get the monkey off James Franklin back, ease some pressure going into 2024 for him. You see what I'm saying? I think Lane Kiffin is playing with house money.
All right, but who has Penn State beat?
I'm not saying they have beaten anybody. I'm saying you're see, this is what we disagree. This is what I look at it, how we look at it differently, Donnie. You look at the team as if they're playing in week 7 of the regular season. I'm looking at this team as if they've already went through a bit of free agency and some defections from the team. I understand these are not the same teams in the regular season.
Like he's saying, he's looking at this like a preseason game at postseason.
Yes, that's exactly right. The perfect comparison. This is the preseason game in the postseason. So some of these players that you saw in the regular season are no longer on these rosters, are probably getting ready for the NFL or the transfer portal, who aren't going to play for these universities. I just think Penn State has less of those than Ole Miss does. I think Ole Miss focuses on 2024, and maybe a lot of the young players may play in this game. Maybe Penn State has a lot of older players. I don't know. I just feel confident in the Penn State aspect of this.
Who has better athletes? Ole Miss or Penn State?
I think Penn State has I think Ole Miss has the overall athletes. But again, who cares?
Whose athletes are playing? Whose athletes are playing?
Who cares? Right? And even if they're on the depth chart, who we all know.
You're starting.
We all know on offense. Okay, on offense.
Right.
The package determines who's playing, unless an injury or a specific, maybe a drive, a receiver gets tired. Okay, we need to put in a different package. Pull this receiver. Let our receivers get some breath. Let's put it in. Right. The offensive side of the ball, the package is set unless someone is injured. When you call out a formation, it's already set. On the defensive side of the ball, it's whether or not they plan on sending a sub out when he throws his hand up.
I'm going with Lane versus.
You look at that and a player who is he's just tired. He's where we are as fans, right? He's just ready to get to camp. He's ready to get to camp, get to work. Where he's tired of hearing about Twitter. He's tired of hearing us talk on podcast about what we think we know better than them. Okay, and he just raises his hand a little early, right? He's not pushing a little harder. He raises his hand and said, "Sub me out." That's where this is going, because that's what would happen in preseason.
Y'all don't understand. Ole Miss it's the system. It's not just the players. It's the system.
Yes, I understand. I'm with you on that logic, Donnie. That logic.
Great athlete to play for Lane Kiffin. You just have to be in the system. That's it.
I'm with you. I'm not disagreeing. Why do you think
James Franklin is probably going to be fired next year if he don't win because he can't beat anybody that means anything.
I'm in agreement with you there too, Donnie. That's why I think he's probably a little more motivated to win this game than Lane Kiffin is. Lane Kiffin's playing with house money. He knows 2024, he has his quarterback coming back. They spend all this money in the portal. They're picking up pieces left and right. So this game really don't mean much. They know going to 2024, they got to be a top 12 team and they go to the playoffs, something that they probably would never do in program history.
James Franklin has an $82 million buyout right now. You think he cares if he gets fired right now?
I think Lane Kiffin is doing something very similar to what Nick Saban would do if he was playing in a bowl game like this. If he wasn't actually playing for a national championship, he would treat it very similarly to how Nick Saban does. Hey, listen, if you want to be part of the squad, here's how you
part of the system.
Right, part of the system, but at the same time, I think Nick Saban also understands that there are certain aspects. Nick Saban, the way he coaches, man, when he finds the right player with the right resilience, he is harder on the players that can handle it, if that makes any sense. The ones that can handle his coaching. So I think with Lane Kiffin, it's the same way. The ones that want to play will play. That includes, the starters. And any starter that doesn't want to play, you might as well... please do sit. But just know that I'm going to remember that when we go into day one of camp, that you decided to sit on this day, and maybe on day one of camp, that's exactly what you're doing is number two's taking reps. So
I just see that's the problem. It's a system that you're playing in the system, not as an individual. You're playing in the system. As long as you run the system, you're going to win. You're going to score points. And I don't think Penn State can score points. That's why I'm saying I think Ole Miss is going to beat them.
I think, again, this is one of the hotter games that I had, on this take. And right now, as it looks, I think, I think with even Ole Miss, with their star players sitting and Penn State giving, the all-in, whatever, I think this is a really good game. Why it was one of my top.
To me.
All right, let's move on to the next one there, Donnie. And Terrell's gonna. I think it's his turn to lead this one off. This was Auburn, Maryland. This is neither team is ranked, but Auburn is favored 2.5 points. This is the Music City Bowl in Nashville on the 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Terrell.
I think Auburn will cover easily, but I say that, but then I also say that Maryland does have a good quarterback in Tunga Valoa, but I think Auburn wins and covers easily and wins by at least 10.
That's your home football team. Come on, Terrell.
It's not my home football team. I'm a Florida Gator fan. Like, I'm not about to hear rooting for Maryland. Don't get it twisted.
Wouldn't you be in the confines of Virginia?
I'm not too far from College Park, but trust and believe. I don't think they're better than Auburn. I think Auburn has more talent. You just told me. I think they got more talent. And
he's not in Maryland, but he is dang sure on Maryland's welcome mat.
Yeah, I'm right at the front door. Like, I can cross over anytime I want to without bringing the doorbell.
He's just got to reach and touch the doorbell almost. I don't hate that, Terrell. I think Auburn covers this fairly easy. Again, I think the SEC to me is a more elite conference than most of them out there, if not all of them. At any given moment. And I think we stand on this one. I think I'm still in a total SEC pick right now. By the way, from the start right now, I've picked SEC all the way through this right now. Donnie B, the pick's on you, Auburn, Maryland.
Yeah, I go back to watching what Auburn did, like against New Mexico State. They did play a lot better in the rivalry game with Alabama. I mean, the 4th and 30 deal, but I don't think Alabama had their A game that game. I think that if they played 3 times, they beat them by 15, 20 points. Maryland is intriguing because to me, they have They have the I can't even ever say their names. The Tuolongo, whatever his name is. I've watched them play a little bit. I like Losky. I like him as the coach there. You know, he used to be at Alabama. He's OC at Alabama. But I think Auburn, because I think Hugh Freeze is building and they want to show what they can do, keep going forward. They have the momentum. I'm going with Auburn and beat the spread.
All right, there's another one across the board. That's only our second there. Donnie B, I think you're going to lead us off with the Georgia-Florida State. I think it's your turn to shoot
The
on.
break will come off in that game.
You think the breaks will come off? Let's see. Georgia by 14 is the favor right now. So you got Georgia covering that 14 and some?
I think 14. Yeah.
I'm going to come right behind you and say I agree with that. Terrell, Georgia, Florida State. Interesting matchup there, by the way. You don't see that often.
No, and it's not going to be it's not that all that interesting, Jay. It's going to be a 21-point win by Georgia.
Yeah. Or more.
Easily 21. Easily 21, Georgia. I don't think Florida State. I don't think. No. I'm saying you have to. Carson Beck is playing in this game, so I'm just letting make people aware. Like he may not play the fourth quarter, but he's gonna play the first three.
But does Florida State's defense? I mean, do they put on? Are they the stars? Are they the MVP of the game? Is Florida State's defense maybe Florida State without winning? Does Florida State's defense do enough to hold? Here's a better question: does Georgia score more than 50 points in this game?
No, I don't think they score 50 points. I think they score. I think they easily get. I think it'll be something for. I think it may be 42-10.
That's a good number. And I'm just going to write that down as a side note. It has nothing to do. 42-10. That's a great number.
I think Georgia going to go up and down in the football field in the first half, and then Kirby's going to call off the dogs in the fourth quarter. I'll put all the backups in and let them run the clock out.
Okay. I don't hate that. I love that 42-10. That number was just so good. I had to write that down. I'll even put in parentheses T here. All right, we got a Georgia with a clean sweep. I can't say that's surprising. Next game, lining up, Wisconsin. Unranked Wisconsin. Got 13 LSU. LSU's favored by 8.5. Let's see. Terrell, let's shoot to you first.
I like, surprisingly, I don't even know who LSU backup quarterback is. I think it's Nussmeier. I think it's Nussmeier's son. I think he played a little big game when Jaden Daniels had the concussion versus Alabama.
He did the week before the Florida game when Jaden Daniels was questionable. He came in after Jaden Daniels' injury, correct?
I don't know anything about Wisconsin. I don't even know how many games they won. I do know I'm gonna go with LSU just off the strength of, like Donnie said, they're in the SEC, and I guess they're the SEC brethren. But I don't know who to pick, and I think Wisconsin will cover the spread, but I think LSU will win the game.
All right, so you're taking Wisconsin with the spread, though, right? Correct.
Yes, but I think they'll cover 8.5, but LSU will win maybe by field goal. Maybe, I don't know. This is a game I have no idea what's going to happen.
This is a tough one.
I'll give y'all a hint. Wisconsin's quarterback and wide receiver are both in the portal. The wide receivers coming to Florida. How about that?
Well, there you go. All right. LSU gonna cover that. Thank you for letting me know. LSU cover. LSU cover. They got enough talent to cover that without no quarterback from Wisconsin. No. I take that back because Wisconsin's coach is Luke Fickell, correct?
It is, but yeah. Well, I mean,
I think he'll have them. I think he'll have them ready to play. So I'm gonna take them to cover the points, but LSU will win. I think they'll cover, but LSU will.
Wisconsin. Yeah. All right, he's got Wisconsin with the cover on the spread. Donnie B, coming to you, buddy.
I got Wisconsin on the spread too, but I think LSU wins.
I am going to agree with that. That is my first
That's
non-SEC.
that's boring.
I know. I don't. I think 8.5 points is a lot.
It is.
I think
It's
eight
a
and a
lot.
half. I think this is one of the tighter
Yeah,
games. We're looking at 13 LSU. That's 13 LSU with Jaden Daniels playing. Okay. So without Jaden Daniels in that situation, even without the quarterback at Wisconsin, the wide receiver,
right.
that's still covered by Wisconsin. Iowa Tennessee is our next game coming up. Let me lead this one off. Tennessee is covering that 7.5 point spread. I think it's a 2 touchdown game by Tennessee. So I'm going to return back to my SEC with that slight blemish of Wisconsin veering from the SEC there by my picks. Let me shoot over to Terrell. What do you think about this game, buddy?
Uh, like we all saw Iowa in the Big Ten championship game, and it was not pretty on the offensive side of the ball. I will say that they held Michigan in check for the first half, or maybe the first quarter and a half. But I tend to believe that I'm going with Tennessee to cover this. I think they'll win by at least 10 points. Tennessee to cover and win by 10.
Cover and winning by 10.
Yes.
Uh, Donnie B. That's not far off. That's not you think a touchdown field goal. I think 2 touchdowns. That's not far from there. Donnie B. What do you think about this game?
Iowa squeaks out 13 points, and Tennessee goes for over 30.
Mm.
Wow, so covering that by almost double is what you're saying from Tennessee, right?
Well, no respect for the Big Ten.
You said what? What you said?
14 or 15 points there.
I see. I see.
I have no respect for the Big Ten, man. It's
All
the most
right.
boring.
We're looking at the last 4 games that we've picked. Over half of the pick, 5 games total, but the last 4 consecutive, we have picked the same picks.
Yeah.
I veered off of the SEC once, but now we're at the game Alabama and Michigan. I have a feeling we're going to separate the pack here. I got a feeling we may not all be, maybe we are all together on this one. I led the last one, not on purpose, not for the purposes of not leading this one. Terrell, didn't you lead Wisconsin
No,
LSU?
I'll take the lead on this one.
You want to take the lead on this one? Go ahead, sir. I'm giving it to you then.
This is Alabama, Michigan, right?
Alabama, Michigan, correct.
And they put where's this game being played at?
This game,
Pasadena.
yeah, this
Pasadena.
game's in Pasadena, and
Oh,
Michigan's actually favored by 1.5 here. Alabama, 1.5 underdog. That's probably just seeding.
Yeah, how could they? Yeah, exactly.
I
That's
think
all.
that's
probably-
just seeding. I think that's a square line, but we're going off what they give us. They're giving us a 1.5 point underdog to Alabama. You're going off of that. You wanted to lead it, sir. Go ahead.
I'm going to lead it. So it's in Pasadena. Michigan's undefeated. Let Jim Harbaugh tell it they're America's team. They've been through the ringer, and then I was trending towards picking Michigan to win this game outright. Right, obviously covering the 1.5. Well, then I remember Nick Saban hired Michigan's old linebacker coach last week or this week or something like that. I guess to get as much insight as he could to the defensive schematics that Michigan are going to be running to verse them. So in the end, I'm going to pick Bama to cover and win by 10.
Bama cover and winning by 10. I can't say
Yes,
I
I
hate
think-
that. Donnie B.
They win by 10. 9-10, excuse me. 9-10.
All right, Donnie B. Do you just want to go ahead and step up to the tee and rip one, or do you want to paper, rock, scissors me and choose?
Oh, I know that Alabama's coming for some blood. They're going. You said 9 or 10.
Yeah, the spread's 1.5.
Yeah, I think they'll win by like 6 or 7.
Alabama.
Yeah. Alabama. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Alabama. Nick Saban.
So, Donnie B, as you know,
Never been impressed.
as you know me, I wanted Alabama here, but
Don't. Don't do it, Jay. Don't do it, Jay.
For the sake of just being different.
Hey, don't do it.
There's nothing on the line. There's nothing on the line.
Hey, don't do it just to do it.
I have nothing. I have no analysis of why I'm going this way.
What? And who they beat?
I gotta.
That's the thing I want to know other than bad. Ohio State.
Ohio State. That's it.
Who they beat?
Ohio State.
Okay.
It's hard to bet against Nick, and I'm gonna tell you right now, gentlemen, if there was any meat in this little pick'ems game we got, it would be different. But for the sake of Hollywood, I'm going Michigan.
Oh my God.
I'm rooting for Alabama. I'm even rooting for Alabama. I almost had something in the background, Alabama, just
you don't even believe that. You don't even believe it.
I don't. It's for the sake of this show. I need to be different. That would give us a total of 6 picks together, and then that would put a lot of pressure on the tiebreaker, and I don't want pressure on the tiebreaker if I can stand it. I'm sorry, Donnie.
Oh man. Oh, that hurts my heart.
It hurts my heart. I was hoping one of y'all. I was really looking forward to one of y'all being different and going Michigan, so I didn't have to.
I was gonna go Michigan, but then I just gotta be a realist, man. The Michigan
and the realist, Terrell, the realist in me, knows that. First of all, I know at 1.5 is nothing. There's just never.
It's a pick 'em. It's a pick 'em.
Have a rematch, don't you, for the championship?
Okay, so I'm pretty confident. So I'm pretty confident with my very heavy SEC picks thus far, with the exception of Wisconsin. So I'm okay with going Michigan, just for the sake of entertainment here on the Talking Gator. That is my official answer, Donnie B. Please do not text me later and ask me if I want to put 20 on it. I do not. Please don't give me hell because I'm going against the SEC because I don't want to. It is simply for the entertainment of what we've got going here.
Who's it entertaining? You?
It is. It really is. I guess.
That's why.
And the two other people watching.
That's why you always finish last in these contests because you get soft.
I get and the people that usually just guess off of the colors usually
you wouldn't let me win because you made me hit the pole on all the greens instead of hitting the ball in the hole at Meadowbrook. And I'm gonna go with Michigan. What the heck,
Terrell? We had to change the rules of golf so Donnie could play a certain golf course without flipping his top and leaving early. All right, we got a tiebreaker. It's really simple, guys. It's just going to separate if we go into a tie. It'll only be necessary if that's the case. We'll calculate the games first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker will settle that. But I want to know total SEC touchdowns from these games that we just went over.
Touchdowns. What? That is.
I want total touchdowns, and let's just recap. I have no idea where that is. Maybe it's there. Yeah, there we go. I want total touchdowns from all the games. Now, here's if you're logical, if you think like I do, I'm Japanese. I didn't mean to say logical. I'm Japanese and I think of things in abacus. Is I basically average. Okay. I think the SEC can average 3 touchdowns across every game. We have 9 games. 3 times 9 is 27. 27 is a good median. Okay. So there we go. Total touchdowns from the SEC games of the 9 SEC bowl games. Obviously, excluding 2-point conversions, just straight up 6-point touchdowns. Donnie B, I'm going to come to you first. Put the pressure on you, sir.
52.
Wow. Are you kidding? That's
52.
over. That's around 6 touchdowns per game for the SEC.
Yeah,
No, it is.
Yeah, it
No, not
is.
9 goes into 52. How many times?
Wait a minute. You said how many total touchdowns?
Well, okay, so half of 52 is 26. Three
Right.
touchdowns a game is 27.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, you're right.
So
About
6
5.
touchdowns a
About
game is
5.
54.
So about 5.8, 5.9.
So 52 is your final answer.
52, and I'm saying 52.
Woo!
Okay. That's a hard number to write.
I'm making it easy on you guys.
Hashtag Chef Will. Terrell, I'm going to defer to you on this one, buddy.
I'm gonna go.
27's a median.
I know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 36.
That's a good number.
I think they average about 4 touchdowns a game. SEC.
Because
Some teams will carry the load, and some teams won't meet the level. But I think a couple games are going to be blowouts, and there's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored for the pickup for the load for the other SEC teams who don't. But
I like
yeah,
that because that's 4 a game.
yeah, that's how I'm looking. He said when he said 52, I said, boy, that's 6 touchdowns. That's damn near 6 touchdowns a game. That's a bit much for some of these teams. Like, I don't think Auburn has 50. I don't think Auburn has 6 offensive touchdowns in them. Like, I don't.
I started my math trail at 36, and then I said I either have to go 1 or 2 up or down from there, and then kind of a second thought, I was like, well, maybe I should nail 36, right in the bullseye. And then you said 36. And so I want to. Donnie's got 52. Terrell has 36. Those are both even numbers. So I want to go an odd number, but I don't want to go 1 away because then the tiebreaker wouldn't really make any sense. The tiebreaker would be great because it'd be over under. Because really right now I could go 35 and I would be under. Yeah. That's what I'm going. 35.
Golly.
All right. There we go, gentlemen. Real quick recap on that. Texas A&M, Oklahoma State. Jay and Donnie go Texas A&M. Terrell takes Oklahoma. I don't remember what that spread was. Let's see if I can go back. Spread on that is Texas A&M favored by 2.5. Then we got Clemson, Kentucky. Kentucky underdog 5.5. Jay and Terrell go Kentucky. Donnie says Clemson covers. Missouri, Ohio State. Missouri favored by 2.5. We went across the board, and Missouri's going to cover on that one. Ole Miss, Penn State. We've got Ole Miss as the underdog, 3.5 points. Jay and Donnie say that Ohio State covers. Terrell's got Penn on that one. Auburn, Maryland. Both unranked teams were across the board. Auburn covers their 2.5 point favor. We shoot over to Georgia, Florida State. We're pretty consistent. Georgia covers their 14. Where did I go here? Wisconsin. They're the underdog by 8.5. We don't think LSU covers that one across the board, so we all went Wisconsin. Iowa, Tennessee. Tennessee's favored by 7.5. Again, we're consistent with Tennessee. Unanimous.
And then Jay's soft pick for the next one.
And then my soft pick. Yeah, my soft pick for the next one. Donnie and Terrell took Alabama. I wanted to. I had to be different and break that up. I went Michigan. Maybe that's the one that wins it for me, guys.
Good luck with that logic.
Maybe that's the one that wins it for me. Hey, Terrell, I ain't going to lie. That logic does pull out every once in a while. Never in
No.
never usually in my favor, but I have seen it work for others. That logic, just for the sake of being
Roll Tide.
roll tide. I'm with you. I'm with you. And DraftKings is definitely getting my dollar in Alabama's favor. $5 or
Mm.
whatever it may be. Where are we at in the show? Let's talk a little Gators men's basketball. It's going to be very brief. We're working on quite a bit of a show. Donnie B, I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the game, but the Gators were able to pull off a win over Eastern Carolina. That was Thursday. That puts them 7-3 overall, 4-0 at home. I still like the Gators. Well, that was a neutral site, so that's not going to change. This Walter Clayton Jr., before I go much further, he had a hot first half. He had 22 points in the game. 20 of those points came in the first half. Now, the team as a whole, I thought, really caught lick in the second half. When watching this game, like, we have some really good players, and they're learning and they're coming together on how to play together. They have good ball handling skill. This Walter Clayton, he's very smooth. He's fast, but not quick, not like jittery quick. And I think, in my opinion, I'm going to ask you, Donnie B, and Terrell also, is I see the Gator basketball team getting better together as the season progresses, especially when we get into SEC play, and I think we're going to see some individual effort. I think Walter Clayton with 22 points, couple guys behind him with 11 points each. I just see something coming together because the ball handle, the passing is amazing. They're doing NBA level passing in that Eastern Carolina game. Did you see that, Donnie?
Oh yeah.
It was pretty impressive, and you can tell that they're learning how to work together. That's the process they're in now. Is they're learning the timing of all these things, and it's starting to click. And in that second half of the Eastern Carolina game, somewhere in the middle there, it was like, oh man, watch these guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the whole team is made up of portal guys. So Golden's done a great job with the portal. I mean, what's surprising to me is like the kid that the Krugel kid who was supposed to be, he could have gone to the NBA last year, opted to come back, and he just doesn't even seem like he's into it this year. It's kind of wondering what's going on with him. But where we're winning at, Jay, we're winning on the boards right now. Our rebound average is like 9 more rebounds per game than they did last year at this time. So we're getting more opportunities. We're getting more second shots than we ever have before. So looks like to me that it's trending upwards. It's going to be interesting when we get into the physicality of the SEC, but we have Michigan tomorrow night. That's going to tell a lot about who we are as a team. But our backcourt with the Clayton kid is very strong.
With the rebounding, what I noticed is it was more of offensive rebounding, and that's a very important part to me in basketball. Offensive rebounding is the most impactful, right? Because you think in most cases it's a defensive rebound, but we struggle in offensive rebounds. If we could lock in offensive rebounds, I think we're big. Walter Clayton, he's got and I can't pull the number or the names right off the top of my head,
Right.
but there's some other transfers. Again, it's just they're learning how to work together. It's a sign of just great talent coming together, and in a lot of cases, it's like, okay, they've worked together, but then you see these little moments like the first half of the game was the Walter Clayton show. But then the beginning of the second half, you could just tell that they were trying to spread the ball around, and they were still trying to figure out how to do it. Then in the middle of that second half, it was like quick. It was just like watching the guys, ball at the park. Give them a few minutes, and they figure each other out, and they can. It got to the middle of that second half, started looking like some street, but like they were getting outside, they were starting to feel comfortable. and how they were playing. And we know court ball and street ball is a little different, and it just looked like a group of buds towards the middle of that second half, like a group of buds just playing some park ball.
Right, but we got it. All right, so the weakness of this team is at the free throw line. We got to shoot. We got to do a better job. We're only shooting like 69% free throws.
Yeah.
Like I say, we're real strong on the boards. We only shot 41% Saturday, but the first half was totally different than the second half because they took Clayton away. They kept putting pressure on him at the top, making him get rid of the ball, and we didn't really have anybody step up. And so that's what squeezed that game toward the end. Is just we didn't have a lot of what they've been doing is the rebounds, kick out for the 3-point shot. We only shot 25%. So if you're not making those shots and you're getting second chances on the other end of the board, you're getting a lot of fast breaks when you miss a three. There was just a lot that was going on in that game from the first half to the second half. There's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up, but we've got some players that can run the floor, and Florida hadn't had that basketball in about 7 years that we just run the floor the whole time. So there's going to be a lot of missed shots, but we're getting more opportunity for shots. Does that make sense for you? So we just better. They don't even know what the starting five is right now. They're still trying to learn a lot about each other. So
I agree. There was the first half and the second half were almost two totally different games.
Yeah.
In the way they presented. And Terrell, I'm sorry, do you watch any basketball? I never asked you before even inviting you to this show.
I watch it. I watch it occasionally, but Donnie stole my point. I think a lot of teams use the non-conference, especially with the transfer portal now, to kind of get the gelling down for your teams. Right, go through your lumps, figure out your rotations, figure out. All right, he's a catch and shoot guy. He is a creator. He's a distributor. He's a strong rebounder. Like you kind of put that together. So then when they get into SEC play, all the roles on the team have kind of been figured out, and then from there, you kind of can roll in seamlessly and have an understanding of what your team is, and you don't look lost. So, like I said, of course, you're going to take some bumps and bruises. And they probably lost some games they should have won early on, especially. But I think now that you kind of rounded into form of who's your go-to guy, who's your top 8, top 7, how deep you want to go in these SEC games. But I think he's done a hell of a job, and I see them make it. I see them potentially making the tournament. Depends how the SEC plays out this year.
Zion Pullen is
that's it. That's the name.
Zion Pullen is coming off the bench behind Clayton, and he's averaging 12 points a game. You can't beat that for coming off the bench. Five.
One thing, Terrell, I'll tell you to go look back is first of all the second half of that game, but the last shot from the Gators that they made. Not the free throw, but the last court shot. It was a dunk that gave you that sense of like you felt in that dunk what it feels like to finish out a football game, and you're like, oh, I can't wait till next week. Give me next week.
Mm.
When a football game finishes that way, and you're just pumped for next week. Like I can't wait till the first quarter kicks off. Like momentum is built up in you think it's built up in the team, and that's the way that game ended. Like it just gave you that, okay, we did what it took to close it out. We finished strong there in the end. Here coming up, let's see if I got this up right, we've got 3 more non-conference games that starting with the Michigan game that's tomorrow. SEC play tips off against Kentucky on the 6th. That's going to be, luckily, that's a home game for us. So SEC play tips off a home game. Gentlemen, what I like about basketball is when we get into conference play, we get to see each of our conference opponents twice. So we get to see them on their turf and on our turf, and we get to kind of balance out a little bit of that home field advantage, right? Where football doesn't have that sense. Anyway, where I was going with that is we do have Michigan. That's going to be a good game. That's probably our last interesting non-conference game. Maybe Quinnipiac gives us a hell, but I think Michigan's going to be a good game. That's tomorrow 7 p.m. Eastern. That's a neutral site, Charlotte, North Carolina. That leaves us with 2 more games. Kentucky going to kick off SEC play again on the 6th. Gentlemen, before we wrap this show up, I do want to ask your closing thoughts on the show. Everything, mostly bowl games. Big chunk of that show was bowl games. So I'm going to offer you 2 minutes each. Give me your closing thoughts. Terrell, you're the anchor on this one. Lead us off. Go ahead, sir.
When it comes to the bowl games, obviously, let me start. Let me start on recruiting first, right? So, National Signing Day is Wednesday. Hopefully, we keep DJ Lagway, LJ McCray in the class, and we hopefully have a couple surprises up Billy's sleeves, and we keep the rest of the class intact. In addition to that, hopefully Billy pulls out some more magic like he did yesterday in the transfer portal. We get a couple more linemen on the O line and the D line, and maybe a couple skill position players to kind of infuse the youth with some talent. And as far as the bowl games go, I think what'll happen is I think a couple stars will be born. I think you'll see a couple players come out of nowhere who didn't really play a lot in the regular season because they maybe was an upperclassman in their position. But I think you'll see some impactful players get developed or become maybe a potential household name that springboard them as having a big season next year. That's my prediction as far as the SEC games we went over today.
I like that. Great job on today's show, Terrell. We thank you as usual. Donnie B, closing thoughts.
Yeah, I hope we have a good few surprises under the Christmas tree on signing day. There's a couple kids out there. The Mincy kid, I think at Daytona Maitland is. If he comes in with LJ McCray, that would be a great opportunity for the D line. But it's just like this. We're here. We might have word that Willie Corn's going to be coming in as the OC. So we got some things that we're kind of looking up. Still curious to see who the D line coach is going to be. The bowl as far as Billy Napier, I believe that he does a really good job in getting who he needs. The portal. I just read something where there's 82 quarterbacks in the portal from D1 football. Can you believe that? So some of them ain't going to be able to find a home, and I'm still kind of up in there with this NIL deal. I know we talked about it a lot, but I want to see how we finish out this for the recruiting season portal. And this is a talking season anyway, so we can talk a lot. Bottom line is we just got to get better as a football program. Got to trust in the process, trust in Napier. And bowl games, what else we're going to be watching on TV. So I love college football. I love college football. I'm not happy with NIL. And I'm not happy with how these players are being paid a lot of money to play college sports. And we talked about the amateur athletes, and it kind of got me a little bit of like, kind of feeling right now. But I'd probably feel better if our Gators were still playing some football somewhere. So we'll just see how it goes.
Agreed. Thank you, Donnie. And, agreed here. We got one more show where we can talk about bowl games, and then we're really going to get to dive between the three of us into NIL, transfers, recruits, really get to unload with each other on those, frustrations until football really picks up. And, of course, we'll bring you guys basketball on that. But my closing thoughts is very simple, and it has nothing to do with our Gators, believe it or not. I want to tell you, gentlemen, I like where this show is headed. And even though it kind of came together, what I think it's coming together. It may not show in the numbers total, but with you two, to me, it feels like it's coming together. It feels right. It feels easy. It feels fun to do, and I like what we're doing. I'm interested to see how our show can build over an off season and then really shine when football season comes back. I'm really looking forward to that because I think we're going to shine our best. Of course, we're looking forward to, we have our hopes up to a good football season. But my closing thought to you is to you two and to our listeners that I like where this is going. Hang with us. Gentlemen, you two, let's explore the off season where we can dive really into the nooks and crannies of Florida football, and it's not, clouded by orange and blue goggles. I think the orange and blue goggles or sunglasses tend to come off in the off season, and we can really, talk about the pros and cons and the things that we feel are holding us back from winning seasons, at least currently. Other than that, I hope everyone has a safe holiday, a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. And folks, I want to thank you for your time. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe. The Talking Gator will return in 2 weeks. We're going to take Christmas off. That's on a Monday. For New Year's Day, immediately following the Bama-Michigan game. We'll see you then.